Well, it's time for another gardening week, and what a stunning day it is today. I've just come back from a nice long walk along the beach. I thought I'd come to the allotment and do a bit of planting. I'm going to do the red cabbages today, and I'm planting them into this beetroot bed, which is almost cleared. So I should think I've probably got about 3 or 4, well, maybe 5 weeks of beetroot here before we switch over to our stored beetroot. These cabbages were all sown sort of back in September, and they're a bit smaller than in previous years for a variety of reasons, but I don't think it's going to matter very much because they don't put on a huge amount of growth at this time of year. They get nicely established, and then of course as soon as we start sort of getting into March, they start growing nice and strong, and we should be harvesting them early June, I should think, something like that. Obviously I'll be taking this cold frame top off fairly soon and just putting a netted frame over them, but for now they'll benefit from that little bit of extra warmth. So I've already sunk my little plant pots in, so yeah, I just take the plant pots out. These are red drumhead. I've fertilised the ground with chicken manure pellets lightly, and I have given it a bit of lime, not much lime for these early plants because we won't have much in the way of pressure from clubroot by June. These are the furthest on, so the red drumhead. The next batch are red Ladero, or maybe it's just Ladero. They're a clubroot resistant one. They will be much later on, the harvest of those. I'm just killing a few whitefly on the leaves there. And so, although they're clubroot resistant, I've given those a little bit more lime as well, just in case. And yeah, as I say, I'm just checking the leaves. Not many of them have got any sign of whitefly, but yeah, it's worth checking. And there's a decent root system on them, so I'm quite happy with them. I think they're going to get off really nicely. And I'm going to water them in, obviously, because they are quite dry in the pots. As you can see, it's pretty dry. I have been watering them, but it's reasonably warm in the polytunnel at the moment, given all this sunshine. And I'm not down here every day. Right, so that's those, and I will have to obviously start clearing these beetroot out fairly quickly. I put 5 in this bed because these will grow smaller in theory, and I'm going to put 4 of the Laderos in this bed, as I said, because these are hopefully going to grow bigger. I'll leave them in longer. In summer we tend to get through half a big red cabbage a week, so this bed could probably last about 7 or 8 weeks rather. And so these red Ladero are going to be 8 weeks older, and hence, yeah, much bigger plants by the time we start picking them. And then when these finish, the red cabbage that we start in March should be ready, and that should be basically about August time, sometime in August, which gives me plenty of time to get this bed replanted. I do love to see a newly planted bed. So I'm just preparing this bed for spinach, and I'm putting them in reasonably tight because the first crop of spinach we always want for baby leaf, and if it turns out that I put them in too tight, I can always take, like every other plant out or something like that. I've got 2 successions, so I'm just doing this bit for the first succession and putting a middle row in as well, and then the second succession will go down there. This bed is going to be colettes, and it's going to be colettes in the middle of May, so I need to have the spinach all harvested by then. And actually by middle of May it's getting a bit late for the variety of spinach that I'm putting in here, which is Rubino. Rubino really likes it cool. It's a spring spinach, and so we'll have switched over to Santa Cruz by then. So we'll see how this all goes, but it's looking quite nice. I'm not quite ready to plant it yet. I'll probably plant it later on in the week. I do want to get it all prepared because obviously it's such a lovely day today. Might as well use good weather time to get things ready. I'm just going to pop some fleece over it now just to warm up the ground a little bit, and just to make sure I've got it cut to length and all that. I do absolutely loathe fleece, but unfortunately this is kind of the only option at this time of year. I think polythene would probably get a bit overly warm, yeah, I loathe it though. All the microplastics that drop off it, it's really horrible stuff, but it's only going to be on here for a relatively short period of time, so fingers crossed it'll be okay. So next up I'm doing a bit of bed prep. This was my winter leek bed and it's all finished, so we're going to switching over to the spring leek bed now. And so I'm just taking out the weeds. I always weed by hand, really, almost always, especially when I'm doing bed prep, and because I want to be sure that I've got them all out. I just don't just want to hoe them. And I'm going to be mulching this, and I'm going to be planting Brussels sprouts in this bed. I sow my Brussels sprouts in March, and I plant them in May. You can do it later. I've seen it actually quite successfully later, but what I like is I like a really long stem on my sprouts, obviously, because then you get more sprouts. So that's one of the benefits of starting them in March. The other benefit is we really like eating the Brussels sprout leaves, so it just gives us a longer harvest period for those sprout leaves, which is really nice. And because I don't like weeding, I like to put a weed-free mulch down on here. My homemade compost is never weed-free because I can't compost it hot enough, or for long enough anyway. I can certainly get it hot, but I can't keep it hot for a long enough period of time. And so it's always got quite a lot of weeds in. So I'm using Levington's, I think, farmyard manure. I'll show you the bag in a minute anyway. And whilst I was in a weeding mood, and we did this bed as well. This is garlic down here, and it's going to be cabbages, big Savoy cabbages down the centre. Well, hopefully they're going to be big. On this frame here, this is where I have my winter squash. So I can't overplant these beds too much because they are kind of daylight levels are sort of reduced a bit. So I put that bit of lime down, and yeah, this is what I'm using actually, Westland farmyard manure. I sometimes use different varieties, but it's always farmyard manure, and I've never had any problems with any weeds in it at all, so it must be composted nice and warm. And I'm not going to need to give these plants much additional feed in addition to this, because you know they're getting a good inch and a half of farmyard manure on them, so that's quite nice. It is a lovely medium to work with as well. It's gorgeous. And this Westland farmyard manure, I don't know what the animals are bedded on, but there's no real significant amount of wood in it really. Not that you can see, maybe little bits, but it's nice. It's a nice medium to work with. Okay, that's the end of the mulching of the outside beds. This is going to be the beetroot bed. It's currently the sprout bed. I normally leave just a few sprouts, I think probably like 10-15 sprouts on the tops of the plants, because they kind of burst into leaf in spring. Obviously I don't need this bed until I plant the beetroot out, which is going to be well into spring. So yeah, I get a really nice harvest of super succulent beetroot leaves, sprout leaves, which I really like. So yeah, feeling pretty good. Plot's mostly open to the elements, just giving everything a bit of fresh air, drying all the lids off. Oh, it's lovely. Right, back to more weeding. So this is my spring leek bed. Superficially looks pretty good. Loads and loads of little weeds in there though. Can't let that stand, they'll all go to seed on me. So best get on with that. Well, that's looking a lot better. Not perfect. Trying to be a 80-20 gardener when it comes to weeding. Apart from when I do a bed turnover, and then I aim for as close to 100% as I can get. That's what I took out. Just one last job I've been desperate to do for ages. Clearing up all the dead leaves on these strawberry plants and giving them a good mulch. Well, I'm really pleased with that. Got all these done. That's a strawberry guava berry. These are strawberries, and these are red gooseberries. So this is my little snack bar. And it looks tidy at last. Oh, I've made it to the end of the week. It's been a difficult week for a variety of reasons, which I won't bother going into. But I was absolutely freezing on the allotment today doing this harvest. I think wind chill was like -4. Anyway, let's have a look what we've got. So that's the last of the yak-on using the old storage method, and then the first of the yak-on using the new storage method. So quite pleased with that. Potatoes from the store. We'll soon be start harvesting potatoes from our tubs. Kale, carrots, looking pretty good actually. The carrots are really pleased. Almost no slug damage. Just had to chop the end off that one, but other than that, pretty good. The last red cabbage. So actually we're saving that for next week. So we've got that bit for this week. But fortunately, we've now got all these beautiful little red cabbage. I don't know what you call them really, like pups, I think some people call them. And yeah, like a little Brussels of the red cabbage as well. And loads of colettes now, which is really nice, and loads of sprouts. Still loads of Crown Prince squash. Coming to the end of the beetroot from the ground now, or at least the golden beetroot. Still got quite a few of the red beetroots in the ground, and then loads in the store. Leeks and all sorts of different alliums. And yeah, 3 smoothie mixes at that end of the table. And then all these other bits are all for the salads. And so we've got claytonia, baby beet leaves, spinach, more baby beet leaves. I've already put lettuces, Asian greens, and lamb's lettuce in. And just got those carrots to go in as well. And yeah, I'll just make it up as I always do. And I'm finished. Looking forward to a rest. My name's Steve, and I'll see you soon.